about some. So you may not drink coffee, but you may drink Red Bull. Why your device taking forever, bro? If you go to Asian countries, they are 7-Eleven, got everything. Here in Australia, bro, people tend to be more enclosed, stay in their comfort zone. Here is a culture of becoming entrepreneur, get out of their comfort zone, we conquer our demons, and to become what we need to become. Because I believe we can become anybody. I can become an entrepreneur, I can become a business owner, I can become an athlete, I can become a gym goer. There's not any limitation, but how to get out of my comfort zone. Young people their old age, if they don't want to get out of their comfort zone, I believe we got potential as individuals.
If I had to give young entrepreneurs a bit of advice, it would be just go for it. Like if you can afford the outlay and you can afford to take that risk, it's not really a risk if you're young.
Yeah. Let me talk about fear, because we understand young entrepreneur, old people in their 40s, people in their 30s. We understand they can go ahead, they can move on and become somebody. But our fear hold them back. Now we need to beat fear. What can anybody do, like right now, out of what you're gonna tell them to come out and conquer fear?
It's a little bit hard to understand the exact circumstances on maybe, if there's anything to do with any, if it's post-traumatic fear, if you have, post-traumatic stress in a sense, where you could obviously overcome this, but I'm not really too familiar in what. It's actually a broad topic. So if you could narrow what you're saying as fear, maybe just explain a little bit more about the fears as well as what you want to do in life in comparison.
Okay. For instance, I'm thinking about to be an athlete, a bodybuilder. I'm gonna think in my mind, I may have that inside voice tell me you can't become anybody, you can't compete with anybody. That is, in a nutshell, fear in my heart. And it puts doubts in my mind. It can be in any area. It's not, I know what you mean, kind of broader, what I said, but anybody can be an entrepreneur. I can be, you want to be an entrepreneur, or is an entrepreneur, you want to grow his business, but I need to compete, for instance. Or I can be an athlete. I would like to be international athlete or national athlete, but I have to get out of my comfort zone and become that person who I'm thinking in my mind. So the fear in between gonna hold me back. But what can anybody? Because there are athletes who did it already. There are business owners who did it already, like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. Many entrepreneurs who can come to your mind right now. They did it. It doesn't mean they didn't conquer their demons. It doesn't mean they didn't conquer their own fear. But the question is, what could be a tip to inform anybody that you are familiar with, which can help them or which can boost them to get out of their comfort zone and to conquer fear?
Well, Jeff Bezos, he's obviously a little bit, it's either, there's a lot of luck as much as a lot of capital and a lot of persuasion. These three things, and a bit of risk, and obviously a lot of risk involved in having a career that's led to his career at the top of where he is, at the top of his actual game. In relation to, say, Elon Musk, that was one of the names you mentioned. He's actually, it was more of a to be first and better. He actually was one of the first people to actually accomplish a PayPal sort of situation. Like it's not really about him being an entrepreneur. It just happened this way based purely on luck versus being first and having the right people back him by buying his business. I mean, anyone can potentially do this, and obviously he's the very first when the birth of the internet occurred. I mean, him being overweight and a skinny, not overweight, him not being overweight and him having a geeky sort of mindset would obviously result in where he is today, because he's got the brain power. Jeff Bezos, I wouldn't say extremely smart, but I'd say he's very smart at what he does, but not in a sense where he, not as smart as me, for example.
Yeah. I can say this. Fear of being judged. We can talk about that because we can hear critics from people, can be known or unknown people. They tell us you can't become that. You can't become successful. You can't become an influencer or a polarizer in your domain. My question is, bro, when we're in that situation, somebody judges, what can we do, bro, to overcome judgment from unknown and known people?
Well, I'm standing here. I'm a random guy off the street. You've come up to me and you've said to me, well, hey, what are your thoughts on this and that? And I just went, well, I'm eating some, some salad, if you can see.
Yeah. My boys having some salad.
And I'm not really caring on what people think or how they judge me or perceive me. I'm just doing what I want to do and be who I want to be. I want to be I just want to be me. I want to be real. And if you don't like it, well, a good understanding with Andrew Tate would be he didn't care about what people said. He doesn't give a shit about what people do now or say now about him. He doesn't have any sort of animosity towards anybody. However, he hates the weak and he does not like weak-minded people. This goes for all his allies, whether it's in the gym, whether it's taking risks, whether it's going out and picking up a girl. In that sense, he's obvious. It's obvious that he's he's an inspiration.
He is inspirational. I have a question about the same thing you're talking about a role model in life. Do we need a role model? Let me say, in case we may not understand something and we may think about school education. Apart from school education, would I choose to have a role model and not go to school and still be successful in life?
I'd say yes and no, because you need the schooling to have a social status. You need that social status to build friends. You need the friends to then have a lot of other friends that have a different leverage upon your perception of what you need to do to get the end result in where you need to be. So when people come to say to you, either you got to have brains or you got to have street smarts or a combination of both, as much as the network that you built behind you or that's in front of you that can take you to the front of you, that can take you to the front of where you need to be.
Yeah.
I'd say.
So
sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know.
100%. Some people, they don't really care about being Christian or being just a religious person. They don't really understand. Do you think if somebody get up in the morning, I kneel down, I pray, God, Lord, help me out. Do you think that can really help me out to get to where I need to be in life? Let me say spiritually, let me say financially, let me say in my fitness journey. Do you think me praying God can really boost me to become who I never become before and become that beast out of this jungle?
It's good wishful thinking, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, if you have the mindset so this is actually scientific. So I'm a scientific believer where I put my faith in science more than what I would do in, say, a religious sense. Although it's good to have a religion and it's good to be a part of that community with your social status, say for example. Now, it's more or less a factor of you can't put all your eggs in one basket, as that's what they say in business. In Australia, in business, or in any business really. It's more or less a factor of you being able to have that mindset, have that understanding of just having good mental awareness that you're not going to get there if you just keep praying. However, you could get there if you have the mindset and you give yourself the mindset. If praying gives you that mindset, then that's a different story. Because it puts it in your subconscious and all you think about is becoming successful, you're going to become successful. Whether you think that or not, that's up to you. You got to put that in your own mind.
Yeah, last more question about mission. Because I believe we are all here for a reason. Nobody is here for no reason. Not only people. Let me say trees, the moon, the sun. We are all contributing to the ecosystem. Somebody right now who is confused. He doesn't know what he was called for. What is he for? What could you tell him to find what his mission and purpose is on this planet Earth?
I'd say God. Get his. If he has no interests, you're saying, and if he has no understanding on anything else to do with what he thinks he needs to do, well, I'd say that he needs to really think deep down and just actually understand that he is actually here for a purpose. Whether his purpose is to be questioning that purpose, that's more or less of what he has to be thinking about. Because if you don't know your purpose, you're gonna be drifting, and that's your purpose.
Talk about positive thinking for the reason to come to who I need to become. I get up in the morning thinking about driving Lamborghini, for instance, Ferrari. Think about touching money and watching videos online. People talk about what they got going on. Let me say, watch Andrew Tate driving his Bugatti and what he got going on. So I'm thinking about money, success, having a family, have an athletic body, having all those in my subconscious and conscious mind. Do you think me having that type of thoughts in my conscious and subconscious mind can bring me to get to that?
Yes, you do. Because if you need to work this out with your subconscious, it's going to become your conscious. And if your actual conscious, sorry, let me rephrase that, cut that. Your actual conscious mind is the most powerful consciousness that you have. It is your conscious. But in your subconscious, that is a different realm. That's even more powerful than your actual conscious. So if you can tell your conscious mind what you want to do, where you want to be, who you want to become, then your subconscious mind's going to work out ways to think how to get there and build the step planning that it needs to do in order for you to actually become that person that you want to be, or car you want to drive, or how much money you need that as a set limit to know that you're the man, or whatever. Like it's
not a limitation. It's about what you think about.
It's about what you think about. Yeah. My name is Tony Kalankara. Thank you.